Welcome to Talking Society with CT, Hose, and Jose. Let's get started.
It sounds like we're gonna eat.
The cheese. Have you eaten the cheese?
Get guess on what cheese?
CT.
Ziti
Oh
is
no, it's a pasta.
Yeah.
My
You
bad.
don't even know the origins of your own name.
It's not a pasta, it's a cheese.
It's a cheese pasta. Anyways, welcome y'all to Talking Society. Thank you for continuing to listen to us. If this is your first time, my name is Siti. I facilitate questions and different topics. Jose and Jose do not know about them until the day we sit down and start recording. But yeah, we talk about different topics. And it's nice to hear more of Jose and Jos because I know they're pretty funny individuals. So it's kind of nice to hear their perspective on different life experience and their thoughts. So we usually do like a get to know each other. So today's question is, now that winter's around the corner, snow is falling, leaves are crumbling. What is
rapping?
I know. I feel inspired today. What's your favorite activity to do during the cold season?
You want to go first?
During the cold season, man. Honestly, I don't mind. I like taking a walk like when it's snowing or like when it's freshly snowed because it's like not cold. You know, it has to be like the right temperature for it to snow. So it's kind of weird because it won't be like too cold. And I don't know, like right after maybe it dumps, like everything's like really fresh. The mountains look super clean.
Mm-hmm.
The air looks really nice. You're like, oh, it's like, this is what it should look like outside.
Mm-hmm.
And then I like walking. I'll go take a walk, you know, and everything looks like fresh. Like it's like nothing's hazy, and it's like, oh man, maybe this is what we're supposed to be breathing air like this.
Mm-hmm.
So I would probably say something like that. And I don't know, I don't do a lot of fall activities, you know, not a pumpkin, what is it? Pumpkin spice latte, not for me.
No, just kidding.
So maybe I would just say that. Like, I like when it snows. Okay, I got it. I like driving in the snow. I love driving. Especially when it's a big, giant storm and you have to be, like, just amped up. And there's, like, a giant truck.
That.
Really?
I hate it.
I love the trucks. It's like a game. You're like, oh, jeez. Am I going to make it out of this little, this little dip? Like, I love, like, how intense it feels. And then after you're like, oh. You can finally breathe. Like, you're like, oh, that felt good. I like that.
Well, I'm on edge.
For real.
Dude, and I think it's because I almost hit that one kid. I don't know if I told the story here on the other show, but I was on my way to. I dropped off my sister at middle school. I was on my way to high school, and some kid decided to cross as I'm like maybe 20 yards away, and another car was coming too, and so the other guy also slammed on his brakes. I hit my e-brake. And I kind of like skid into, thankfully there was an intersection that the kid was crossing. So I avoided him. The other guy thankfully avoided it. But the kid like froze. I remember his face still to this day. I'm like, if I didn't react, I would have hit the kid. And yeah, anyways. Ever since that, I like the snow. I just don't like driving in it. But as far as activities go, walking in this, I like trudging through snow. We don't get as many massive snowfalls as we used to. But do you remember when you were a kid and like even just 6 inches of snow felt like it was up to your knees?
Yeah.
And as an adult, I like hate it because it's now my pants get wet. Now I have it's like a whole ordeal. But I think having so much time off from work, the past 2 years essentially, on big snowfalls, I'd take my dog and she'd be buried in the snow, but she'd love it and run around in it. And I would be up to my waist in snow by the park where I live. And I would just push through the snow as like a big workout. It felt really nice actually. And then I'd get home, I'd have to take off the clothes because they were all wet, and I'd have to go dry them. But it was like a whole experience. It took me back to like when I was a kid. So I believe that might be, on the rare occasion, if it snows a lot, my activity for the snow. Admiring the snow would be the other thing. I love seeing that the trees are full of snow. I always love if I can get up early enough, and normally I do, before people start walking in the snow or anything is plowed and everything is just like even, and it's all smooth like a big blanket. It's nice.
He's a control freak.
I enjoy it. It looks beautiful, and I think it's fantastic. But once people start walking through, it doesn't look as cool anymore.
Yeah.
Unless they take a specific path, but just a sheet of blank snow that is untouched is nice.
And nah, I don't like the snow.
You don't like the snow at all?
No, I'd rather just be inside. I guess admiring the snow from the inside.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yes, turning on my TV for the fire
effect.
Yeah, the effect. I don't have a, what do you call them? Not a chimney.
Fireplace.
A fire. I don't have one, but the TV is good enough for
You
me.
can set a fire if you really wanted to. But the crunch under your feet for the snow feels really nice too, I think.
Well, yes, if you have the right shoes.
Oh, I have the right
I
shoes.
feel like, because sometimes I have to go to, I don't have to, but I like to wear the flats with the dress pants that I wear.
Don't you slip?
Yeah. But then I don't want to put boots on and then take the boots off at work and then put on the other
Oh
shoes.
no, I always did that when I went
Yeah.
to work. I'd have my boots
Uh-huh.
and then I have the shoes for in the office.
Oh, maybe I should do that.
Yeah,
That's
so I
pretty
just
smart.
swap, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, any other tips y'all have for winter?
Yeah, a plastic bag so if your boots obviously get super wet, you put them in the bag on your way home,
Oh, okay.
or obviously at the office, whatever. But
A lot of people thought that I was lying. We talked about this on the other show to some friends. If you have really dirty shoes, wear them when you go. Like trust me, like sneakers.
it'll wipe it off.
Wear them and then just walk like Cole said, like walk for a long time,
Uh-huh.
and then like it'll
It'll clean your shoes.
it'll clean the shoes.
Okay.
So like you'll come back, your sneakers will be like spotless. Your feet will be wet, obviously, but they'll be spotless. That, and I would say always have an extra scraper for like your car, because that always comes in clutch. Somebody always loses theirs or something at work,
Yeah.
and they're like, "Oh, I don't have the scraper. Oh, I need help." And they're like, "Don't worry, I got you. You can borrow my extra one." Or if you get a nice one they have now some on Amazon that extend.
Uh-huh.
And then somebody, like you're outside, and you're using your big scraper, and somebody's there with the little tiny one. That always makes you feel like powerful, I have a
You
bigger
just shove them to
scraper.
the side.
Guys, like I got you,
Yeah.
So that's a tip for guys. That's how you can talk to girls,
Yeah. First, learn to talk.
and then scrape.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank y'all for sharing. So, I'm gonna actually give
Oh damn, we have a quiz.
Jose.
We might.
They're blank pieces of paper.
Okay.
So here are these to you, and then I brought also. Oh, sorry, I'm a little short. Pens, color pencils. So I want y'all to draw yourself, in your best looking self, like your ideal body, like where you felt like the best, and if what you're
Really?
feeling right
I just
now,
gained
just
7
draw.
pounds, people.
I've been heavy.
And so I'll join you all in this one too. But keep drawing again. It's of yourself, of your best self.
Physically, physical best self.
yeah, physical best self. And so, I'll ask you all questions, but continue drawing. So if you caught on, we'll talk about body image today.
Body
Ew.
positivity.
Yeah.
Okay. So I do want to hear what you all thoughts are about the way that you all learned about either positive or negative body image from your childhood to your adolescence, from your adolescence to adulthood. Now,
What was that?
what you all learned about body image, your perspective on body image, the good, the bad.
And the ugly. That was me.
Why would you bring up such a thing?
I know. The hardest topic.
Yeah. So we can start with like when you all were younger.
You want? Okay. I mean, I guess I'm kind of distracted by drawing.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't say there was much as far as I don't know. What word did you use? The pressures or something?
Like standards, body
Standards?
image standards.
Mine was more about being strong, really, as opposed to a look, if that makes sense.
Uh-huh.
I mean, granted, I've always been gordito, which I've been a chunky kid always. Obviously, much bigger now. Right out of high school, I was in my better phase physically, but mine was more always about if you can't do certain physical things, not necessarily like I said about being looking a specific way, but being able to lift or open up something with force. That's kind of, I guess, the standard that I would say was always implemented, or I felt was implemented on me.
Is that from family members or from school?
I'd say
or
a mix of
everything?
Because I had a growth spurt earlier than most kids, so I was taller and bigger than a lot of my classmates. So they always kind of viewed me in that light, and I never felt too pressured, I guess, to look skinny, so to speak. Maybe in my really, really younger kid years, I was a little bit skinnier, but as far as like even as a teen, no, I've never been very skinny. Like I said, right out of high school, I did work out quite a bit and eat relatively healthy, and that was physically like my prime, so to speak, and I was okay with that. I still had a gut, but I felt good. I feel okay now. I still will physically do like lifting and stuff. I just don't. Really, my diet is what I need to dial in on, and that would be better. But I guess more of a feeling. Because if you have poor physical health condition, then you don't mentally perform well or have any sort of like energy. I've been there before for sure. But right now, I feel okay. Although I do understand I need to do better for sure. I don't know if that answers your question or if I just rambled on for no reason.
No, you're good. I think for myself, it was like when I was younger, it was who's the tallest. Right?
That was the
that was a big standard. Who was the tallest? And this is something I fought with one of our friends, Javi. Is like he and I, like in elementary, I was the tallest, and then all of a sudden, 6th grade hit, and this guy like grew really tall, and I could no longer tease him about me being taller.
Oh, you picked on it. You were a little bit of a bully from
I
what I hear.
I was. I think I saw growing on in 6th grade.
That's funny.
Yeah.
What about you?
Was over there having fun?
Yeah, I think I finished. I mean, I don't know. I was always kind of a little bit bigger too. Like, kind of the same size. I've been like maybe average, I guess. Bigger average. But I don't know. I guess for me, I've always thought about as long as I could have like a lot of fun or play a lot of sports. Like I never. If I could run good, if I could breathe good, if I had to. For me, I just took it more like stamina. Like I didn't really care how big I was, just depending as long as I could have like as much stamina as like somebody that's super skinny. Like that's how I would see how I was in shape. And then it was, you said like for you, when we were younger, what it was? Is that what the question was?
Yeah. So from kind of when you were younger, what was the big, what people would tell you, like you need to be like this type of body image in order to meet the standards?
No, I mean, I don't think nobody ever told me. You know, in Mexico, you get called like, oh, gordo, vengas a mi gordo, or something like that. So you get called that, but it's not. Never thought it was weird. To me, it was just kind of like Jose said, like, I just wanted to, maybe it's because, I don't know if because we're from the 90s or because we're like Latinos, but it's like you always wanted to play sports, right? So it's like, as long as like he said, like you could be part of like games and have activities, and I always have been like competitive, so like I always wanted to like run as fast as possible or be able to be as best as possible with like any games or anything that we played. So as long as I could participate in all of that, then I was pretty happy. I never thought that being like bigger was like weird. If anything, I probably thought that it was like, oh, I'm stronger, you know, than like the other kids. Like, but I never saw it as an issue, or my parents, I don't think they ever saw it as an issue either. They would just tell me, I remember, it's like, oh, you're going to grow soon. They would say that, like, you know, something like that. It's like, oh, he's going to grow. You know, he drinks a lot of milk. They would say that, you know. Parece un becerro.
Y actúa como uno también. You know.
I was Mary's little lamb, you know. So, yeah. I mean, my nickname for a little bit, it was also Double Bubble, like the gum, you know. So that was like with when I was like a little bit chubby, like maybe I was like 11 before I hit growth spurt. That's what it was. It's like, oh, you know, he's starting to man up. That's what it was. So
yeah, mine were again always feats of strength. It was more like, oh, could I shove this person behind? Like, you know, if they push me, can I push them back further? So that's really what the litmus test I think was for me. And I was okay with it. I did pretty good for myself. Yeah.
I am interested to know more of childhood wise. things that maybe your family members told you or peers told you, oh, you need to eat this to grow, or you need to do this to become stronger. I know you mentioned milk, right? Anything else that we're told to?
Oddly
do.
enough, I don't know if he can relate. I'd imagine any Latino can relate to this, or just anyone with a culture that just like centers a lot around food. Is if you're trying to be a healthier lifestyle, they can't accept that you're not going to eat something that they've made. Does that make sense? Like
Yeah.
that doesn't fit within the parameters of it, or even just say maybe it does, but hey, because I know he does like intermittent fasting, right? So I always like remember to try and keep him because I don't want to like ruin that thing for him. But a lot of you're not gonna eat. No, well, you can't go to bed hungry. Is what I was like. Yeah, I'll be fine. You know, like those things. So dieting, I guess, around that is difficult because people will question you and try to pressure you into eating because they feel offended that you don't want to eat whatever they've made or participate with it. But that's just, yeah.
I don't know. I was told to sleep a lot, and I never grew.
Did you sleep a lot?
I did.
So your parents just wanted a break from you.
Yeah.
I know now. I know because that's what we tell our
They
kids.
wanted to watch their TV shows. In
Yes.
peace.
Ya duérmete.
Yeah.
Could you all talk to me about like, and I think it's transitioning into adolescence when you had more like exposed to maybe social media and stuff. Did you feel like that affected the way that you thought about what being good fit meant or your body image? Like, could you see now like the discrimination or prejudice for people who were in certain body types?
I can see it. I wouldn't say I felt it, if that makes any sense. He's known me as long as I've known him, as far as like when, I mean, that's stupid. Of course we know each other the same amount of time. We went into adulthood in a time where social media was a thing, but it's not what you see today. It was very new, right? I think Facebook was the big one back then. And I mean, people had it, but it was to post like a vacation or to say something funny. It wasn't something that people consumed where they're overly bombarded with, to your point, like these models and body types. It was more of just a place to share or stay in touch with people that have moved or people that live in a different state. I have to think, because maybe at some point it did influence, but I didn't have a Facebook. I do have Instagram now. I had Twitter, but Twitter was always more for comedy and sports for me.
And I wouldn't even say that it wasn't a thing when we were. I just think it wasn't a thing for us.
Yeah.
Because like everybody that's our age, a lot of people are on social media, like still even on Facebook. They're active on a lot of stuff. So I wouldn't even say
Yeah.
that we like, oh, we're so old that we missed it. Because even our parents are on.
Yeah, that's
You know?
true. I think more just a mindset. I just wasn't really focused on it. That wasn't a worry of mine. My worry was in my early 20s more about, getting money, making sure I had money, that which delayed, and I've spoke about it a lot, obviously, like it delayed things I liked, being creative endeavors. And that's what I'm sitting at right now, is loving to be able to create things as opposed to worrying about looking a specific way. Now, granted, of course, there are some things I can do for my health that I should do. And I recognize that, but do I feel pressure like, oh, I have to have a six-pack? No, even in my greatest day, like when I'm 5'10", at my lightest, when I worked out a lot, I still had like a belly, and I was still 230 was like the lightest I've ever been. But like I was able to do like 10 pull-ups. I was able to bench like an incredible amount of weight, squatted a lot of weight. Like I was a bulky guy. I was still chunky, but I was agile. I was able to move. And this is early 20s too. Now I'm in my 30s, probably not going to be able to do that. But yeah, could I stand to shed a few pounds? Of course. But even, like I said, in my greatest day, no. And to answer the question of other people influencing it, yes, I've seen so many people, specifically for men, I think steroids is a big thing. Apparently, I think a lot of women are also going on to steroids now, more for the influencer, because they have to maintain a specific image, right? And it's easier that way. I don't know how much you were aware of that, but I had a buddy who was into lifting a lot.
Yeah.
It was like his hobby. And so I'd see a bunch of guys take stuff, and you can always tell if you know them before they take it, and then you see them after. Okay, you took some stuff. They call it gear or whatever. Yeah, that's which is weird. and then I think TRT, testosterone replacement therapy, which is valid. I always feel there's enough people that think like it's almost it's not placebo. Is it placebo? It's just the idea that it even exists. Like, oh, there are people that lack testosterone. They kind of get into their own head, and then they need it for that reason. Does that make sense? Like, awareness of a problem creates the problem itself.
Yeah.
Like, that's why being Latino will go to the point of depression or anxiety and stuff, right? A lot of the times they tell us to just suck it up and, like, it's a part of life, right? I get that that's sometimes crippling. However, there's power to it too, right? Where if you can't tell yourself, no, it's just a thing I can shake off, cool. I'm not saying depression is something you can easily shake off. I'm not saying anxiety doesn't exist either. But there is also some level of power if you can just, oh, it's not a thing, I can kind of just push past it, right? Whereas someone who always thinks about it, then they'll probably sit there forever. So there's got to be a fine balance. Back to the fitness thing, I think that there is obviously that standard. That's one thing I think I'll give a perspective is for men. People always say, oh, women always have like such high standards that are presented to them. Do you guys watch the same movies we do? Because a lot of the guy actors have like incredible physiques, right? So guys experience visually the same thing. I think we just respond to it differently. I think it affects women more for sure.
Yeah.
It affects them more, but I don't think it's less relevant for men. It's just we handle it differently in different ways.
Okay.
If that makes sense. Because I guess for us, there's more than just physical looks, although physical looks is a big thing too. There's other things, I guess, that guys tend to like to do that, guys, we just don't care sometimes. Whereas, unfortunately, I think socially, women care more about the looks than the guys do. And I'm just speaking maybe anecdotally from experience. But even like a lot of my female friends where I'll see how they speak to each other about visuals and stuff.
Yeah.
Whereas guys, we don't care. We'll have guys that are skinny. We'll make fun of like the super bone skinny guy. We'll make fun of the super fat guy. We'll make fun of anyone in between. But because I don't know, guys just interact differently. And I think that was, at least in my era, they were.
Yeah.
The people I was around, I'm okay with that.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I always like sports and stuff like that. So, like, when I saw, like, especially wrestling, like, I was like, okay, I like lifting weights, you know? So maybe that got me to, like, lift more weights. That, and I would always do, like, I always like sports, like soccer and stuff like that. So even if it was just me by myself, like, I would always, like, set up drills. So I would be outside, like, I had a pretty big yard, so I would just set up drills, and I would just do drills, like, the whole afternoon, and then, like, go work out and stuff like that. So I always like doing that stuff, but I think for me it was just mostly because I like sports, you know, and stuff like that. So I just thought like doing that stuff was kind of like, I don't know, it was like fun to waste time that way, you know, like especially, I mean, back then you didn't have as many things to entertain yourself. I've never been much of a video game person or anything like that, so I would just do stuff like that, like go to the gym or go run. And wrestling, I liked wrestling a lot, so that's like, I don't know, I like that kind of stuff. And then for social media, I think it's the same like Close. Like I never really got into social media. Like I got on it maybe for like 2 years after I graduated. I'm like, oh, maybe I'll get on Facebook. People had already had a Facebook. I'm like, maybe I'll see some of my friends. But I did that even a year after I graduated. And then I maybe posted for a little bit, and it was never a thing. Like for me, I never cared really about. And in a way, maybe it was like accidentally, you know, like my family never did like a bunch of pictures. So I'm not sure if it was like, oh, I needed always to be taking pictures or stuff like that. Because like growing up, we weren't really, unless like my grandma came over or like it was like a special occasion or something like that. That's like the only time we're taking pictures. We're not like, oh, let's go here to the park and take pictures. Or, you know, it's like somebody visited. Maybe you went to the mall next to a fountain. You take a picture. Or stuff like that. So I never understood like what do I need to share about my life or what other people want to see of me. In a way too, I feel like, and I'm not sure again if it's maybe how we were raised as Latinos, like because he's Puerto Rican, right? But he's like he has a lot of like maybe traditional like first generation kind of like I guess values, and I'm born in Mexico. You know, so I don't have like the same traditions as like a Mexican American. So I feel like one thing that you always get at least for me, like one of your like it's the things that gets like taught the most is being confident. You know, so it's like confident, look somebody in the eye, shake their hand, say your name, say thank you, say please, like all of those things.
Straight
like,
back.
yeah, how to carry yourself. Yeah. Posture, yeah, no elbows on the table, like things like that where it's you get all those things are like a priority where you're not going to let anybody maybe even try to bring you down. Like I think maybe I said it on here, but I know I've said it before is when I moved to the US, like my dad told me, hey, if somebody seems like they're disrespecting you, say stop. You know, say, hey, please stop or be quiet. And then say, if they still seem aggressive, say shut up. And then if they still seem like they're being mean, he said beat them up. So that's what my dad said. So even like that, right? From like your dad telling you like, oh, you can literally like if this person's like this is what you can say, you're not gonna know how to like speak right now. So if somebody's like, I'm not gonna let you be like a pushover. You have to stick up for yourself, you know. So I always had that stuff like how to be confident and stuff like that, not to be worried about like what other people thought. It's like it's almost like what your parents think of you, what matters the most, right? It's like you have to like they set like the boundaries and the discipline and the expectations, and they kind of hold you accountable quite a bit, right? And then that's it. I think that's what for me that's what helped the most because you end up getting like I guess it's just confidence, you know. It's just like you just because even our parents would do stuff that you're like, dude, I'm not gonna go out with you. Look how you're dressed, you know. And they're like, dude, I don't care, you know. I'm wearing like I got holes in my sock or something, you know. Like they like don't care at all, you know. And it's like you're so that would make me feel uncomfortable sometimes as a
Wait, them going out looking bad or you?
No, them. So for me, sometimes you'd be like, dude, come on, dad. Like, what are you wearing?
Because mine would always, I guess if the appearance is, I just have to look presentable. Does that make sense? You can't have raggedy clothes. We're going somewhere. I'm like, dude, we see this family every weekend. Like, we don't care. It's their birthday. You got to look nice for their birthday.
I would. I'm just saying my dad.
No, I'm saying I had, like, my parents held me to that standard. And I think I would have, because I didn't want to look bad either, but they were like, no, you got to iron your shirt, iron your pants. Make sure your shoes are clean.
You're not wearing like the same socks or your underwear. You'd be like, oh yeah, I already changed. Like, let me smell you, you know. And then you're like, oh yeah, does this smell clean? So I don't know. I feel like that instilled maybe a lot of confidence. And to maybe Jose's point, like I feel like a lot of places now, it's like that people kind of lack sometimes. It's like they seek maybe that confidence, and maybe this is kind of where you were going with the question, where they kind of perceive that going to the gym or seeing what social media posts that's going to make you confident, right? That's going to make you accept yourself or love your body. But it's not. It's just you being comfortable with who you are. That's what's going to make you comfortable. Because there's, for me and even like for hosts, I mean, we've always kind of been around the same size and stuff like that, like what we are right now. And I would never say like for me that I've been like ripped or super strong, and I've always had like good luck with like pretty girls and stuff like that, right? Because it was like, oh, you're funny, I like your laugh and stuff like that. Like, so I think now maybe a lot of people seek like the validation to the gym. Like for me, when I did sports and stuff like that, not that everybody does, but I feel like a lot of the culture now is like, oh, I'm gonna take all my stress and all my anger and everything that I'm broken, and I'm just gonna release it at the gym. Right? And it's going to be my discipline, and I'm going to relieve all my stress, and I'm going to leave it on the weights. You know, I'm going to make the gym my bitch. And then they never work on their mental stuff, so then they're like freaking out. You know, like in the parking lot on their girlfriend that...
They're just as emotionally broken, but stronger, so
yes,
it's worse.
So then it's worse. So I feel like that's kind of like a lot of like gym culture right now. That to me, I was like, sometimes I go and I was like, oh, it's kind of annoying, you know? It's like people, everybody's like putting their phone up, and it's like, dude, it's when I want to go there, it's like if we work out for a little bit, talk or play basketball and stuff like that, or swim. I'm not trying to.
No, that is something when I see that. I get admiring your hard work, but when they're always flexing in the mirror, unless you're competing at a very high level, I don't see an actual need for you to check your pump after every set. You can simmer down a little bit. And I say that because I think that will affect them, right? Because if they're used to, like, you don't look like that always. Even like a bodybuilder will tell you, I don't know if you know the cycle of a bodybuilder. They're knocking on death's door when they do their shows because their body percentage of fat is so low, it's literally very dangerous for their health. So once they're done, they obviously go off this, what they call like their lean cycle or whatever, and then they'll gain weight again. So even a bodybuilder, the real ones will tell you, yeah, this is dangerous. This is not sustainable type of thing, right? So I don't know. I just say it's kind of like that level of standard where they'll see a bodybuilder for that competition, not realize it took the bodybuilder months to get to that lean state. And even the bodybuilder will tell you, I felt the most miserable looking the best because your body's not meant to be at that capacity. And so, but people want to do that 24/7, be like that lean or ripped or whatever it is 24/7.
Yeah.
Another one, I think, strongman competitions, obviously, if you've seen those guys, they like crazy feats of strength where they lift basically like half a car, a whole car worth of weight, squat it, bench, deadlift, whatever. That also comes with a lot of injuries. And you'll see some of the bodybuilders now, if you look at like old age, like Ronnie Coleman, his body's like decrepit. He can barely walk. He has to have a wheelchair. He'll still get up, but I'm saying like he's not even in a condition to walk normally. When you would look at him physically, at least from an appearance perspective, he would be considered physical peak. But now he needs a wheelchair to get around comfortably, which is odd. But then you see old guys who never, maybe they work construction, maybe even they had an office job, but they just took their health seriously. Like they were never the most buff guys, most ripped. They just took care of themselves, and they're old and still able to walk and do hikes and things like that. So it's interesting to kind of see. You can go extreme both ways, not taking it too seriously or taking it so seriously that you overdo it, whether it's lifting too much or taking drugs to look a specific way. Is pretty bad for your heart.
That's what I was gonna say. It's not that, I guess, from our perspective, like it's saying like, oh, don't work out. Like,
No, not at all.
that is,
yeah.
it's like a good discipline. It's obviously healthy, but it's almost like anything, right? Like even with stuff like this, where we're recording and doing things like this, like even in this space for us, it's just like stuff that we like to do, like for fun and stuff like that. And we've been having a lot of fun. That we got a lot of opportunities to keep growing and to do more with it. But there's also like friends that we know that are so like, like doing the same thing, but they're so drenched into like, oh, this needs to happen. Oh, I need this, and this. That you're also in a way, yes, you're having the same discipline as like doing it or whatever you want to do, but you're putting maybe, I don't know, you can also ruin that discipline, like the healthiness of it, like for example, like not just with working out, but with almost like any passion or any discipline that you use to kind of maybe take time out or hobby or skill that you have. Like with everything that you have, you just have to find a balance with all that, because everything could be unhealthy. But my point, just to kind of reel all that back in, is to say like whatever appearance or whatever that you might have, I think a lot of it leans back to like working on your mental health, the way that you feel about it, right? Like that you have to gain some sort of acceptance from you and stuff like that. And I'm just like saying what I was just making a comparison to working out and stuff like that, but with everything that you do, like for me, one thing I used to do a lot, I would always work. I was always like just set on working as hard as I can, and that's what determines if I'm trying hard, if that determines if I'm a good person. Because my parents, that's like all they instilled in me, it's like work your machine, like you can outwork everybody. And I literally, I feel like I can, right? But there was a span of my life where I was just like doing that, and I like, okay, I'm just doing that, and like, what does it even accomplish, right? Like, now I work a lot less, and it's funny because we just had this conversation, me and Jose, just in general. It's like, now I don't even try to work as hard at work, and my 60%, just because of my discipline of how I've always worked, is maybe somebody's like 100 or 200%. But now I'm not going to stress myself over like, oh, I need to do this when I have so many other things that I enjoy doing, So that could technically be a healthy thing. Oh, that guy's a hard worker. But yeah, if I'm just like not taking any time off, if I'm not spending time with my family, if I'm just determining my success on work, right, which is a good thing, I'm making money, doing all these things, like I'm at the end of the day not happy, right, whether I try to mask it or not. And that could lead to other stuff where, you start getting into alcoholism, you start doing maybe drugs, you start doing all these like binge things because you never get to release. Like any stress, you know. So with anything that you do, I feel like just reeling back in, it's like you just have to make sure you figure out how to work on accepting who you are, basically.
Thank you all for sharing. What do y'all think about folks who have surgeries or do like photo filters? I know it's kind of going back to social media, but also people who are permanently doing changes to their body. When do y'all feel like maybe it's a little bit too much or not enough?
No, I wouldn't say there's anything that would be not enough. I don't watch
stop
music
until you
videos.
get enough.
I don't really watch music videos. FYI, he used to watch a lot, and we've seen a couple. I mean, I remember some music videos I'd watch. It's kind of interesting to see, even mid 2000s, how they would call them video vixens, right? Like the hot model that would be in hip hop videos. How much like they were mostly natural. Some would have like maybe breast augmentation, right? I don't think that's much of a big deal. I don't know if it's because you can kind of pull it off, and unless you're holding it, then you might not even know that it's fake, so to speak, right? But they just more natural look. They had normal cheekbones, their contours of their faces. They all had a unique style because they're just not anything under the knife, right? Now you fast forward 15 years, even just 7, 8 years ago, maybe even 10. You see all these people going with facial surgeries,
The eyelashes, the lips,
the butt, the
BBL.
BBLs, anything. They even fake abs. That's like a real surgery that people have. It's kind of crazy. So to answer that question, I understand why people would want to do something. One that really actually bothers me is like the nose ones. I understand maybe some people have maybe such a awful nose, maybe to them. They don't like it, so they fix it. And if it looks normal, yeah, but Michael Jackson, my favorite artist of all time, horrific job with his nose, right? You've seen his nose. Awful. Another one, the lips. Don't do the injections.
Yeah.
I think that's
Girls, come
awful. Your lips are fine. Trust me,
Yeah.
your lips are absolutely fine. Again, breast augmentation, unless it's so exaggerated, it's not going to bother me. BBLs.
Unless it's my birthday.
Yeah.
Wow.
Blow out a candle for you. BBLs, I've not a fan of. Not a fan of at all.
Can you tell us what that is for folks that don't know?
It's a Brazilian butt lift, but they'll take fat from a different part of your body and inject it in your posterior, and it doesn't look good because it's not proportionate to your thighs or your waist, so it just looks like you're wearing a diaper. I don't like it. I think it looks hideous. The nose and that one are probably the two absolute. I don't like the lips one much either. Maybe they're all three on the same page for me. Just be more natural. I think if women are the ones listening to this, you underrate or underestimate how much guys just are okay with natural beauty. I don't know if it's the social media. I don't know if your friends are the ones influencing you doing it. Maybe you're getting in your own head. No, I promise you guys will find you attractive. It's just try. Just put on a little bit of makeup. Put on a cute outfit.
What else?
It doesn't even have to be.
I know.
It doesn't even have to be revealing. And like that in and of itself, well, you don't need to spend $50,000 on a surgery. That's absurd.
I think what Ho said, it's like a good point. Just look at an old music video, especially a rap one. They have a lot of girls. Look at one and you'll see like how different girls are.
Yeah.
Like all the girls are different. Like there's like wider frame girls, thinner girls, tall girls, short girls, like different hairs, different like everything, and they don't look the same. They don't have like the default eyelashes. Like they don't look the same. And what's weird is that I don't know if now what's weird about like for us, like we're saying all of this, like it's abnormal to us, and maybe it's normal to everybody else but us, right? But even with me, like I've tried to go online to do like online dating, and like literally most of like every single girl will have like the same picture. It's weird. Like they'll be at the same places. They'll be at the gateway with the wings. They be at the thing with the neon sign, brunch me harder. Like all of them have the exact same pictures. And that's like, God, that's like really weird. Like it's everybody's trying to be going for like one certain look.
Yeah, have a person. I want you to have a personality. Now, I don't care what surgery you had. I really don't.
And I'm not sure if that led because of like filters. Like, like you were saying, it's like you look at a filter so much And then you go look at your mirror. Your mirror doesn't have a filter. Your mirror's just reality, you know.
Your
So
mirror
that-
has so much dust on it. You know, clean it once.
So
Not
yeah,
yours.
I don't know if that maybe has like enhanced like maybe like, oh, I don't look good enough, you know. It's like there's girls that'll literally do their makeup and then still do like a filter. They're like, dude, you're like,
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
you know, it's like I don't know where I went wrong for like girls like that. And what's crazy too is like, you know, like all the companies that are doing this like tech, like Instagram or Snapchat, like I mean, they know that that's like part of a problem, right? Like they're making like filters and stuff like that, so people can use their apps to be like, oh, this is what I look like. I just want to keep taking pictures on here because I like this filter. So like, for them, that's just like something where they make money off of you, where they can have you hooked on like, oh, this is how I'm gonna be. I'm not even gonna use my camera, and I need to look like this. And now I'm gonna get surgery to look like this, but when I look like this, I'm gonna put the same filter on, and I look completely different because now it's adjusting to what the filter looked like before I got it on my face, you know. So I'm not sure if that's like also something that people see as like everybody's just like profiting off of you being insecure with yourself, you know. Like, I mean, even with like iPhones and Androids, right? It's like I'm gonna send you a video, and now the video's all crazy because you have a different phone, right? Or even with pictures, like you upload them to Instagram, and I think it's Instagram, and I think maybe even Snapchat, that even like Androids, that like messes up the quality for the upload. So like iPhone users, like their pictures look better, you know. So all of that stuff is like pretty weird what tech does to make people feel like insecure, you know. There's always like, and it's not only that. I mean, like a big thing with like guys that took off is like the whole alpha thing, right? Oh, you gotta be an alpha. You gotta be treating women. They're just your objects, you know, to be strong. And these women never cared about you. They always made fun of you when you were a kid, right? So all those kids are now adults that could never talk to girls. It's like their teachers are like, oh, treat somebody with disrespect and break their confidence because you're not confident, right? Like you being abusive to like a girl and like gaslighting them and stuff like that, that's not even you're not even addressing the problem, right? But these guys, like, they profit off of these guys that are like broken men because they're like teaching them how to be kind of aggressive, and then they see like, oh, aggression kind of works, so that's like my.
And they even say too,
thing.
like, oh, it's not about friends, it's about business partnerships. I make fun of that a lot because, like, imagine telling someone that, oh, you don't have friends, you just have business partners. Yeah, of course you're going to live a pretty shitty life. If everyone around you don't trust as a friend, they're just a business transaction for you. So and it's the same group, right? Like oh, you got to be alpha. I didn't even know what that was until a couple years ago.
I don't see that you want it. What are you doing sleeping? What are you doing painting? You don't want it. You don't want to be a man. You want to be a boat on this island? Look at me smelling this fresh ocean from God.
Yeah,
Like,
if you're not earning $100K a month, you're not a real man. And well, what's your father doing? If you grew up poor, your father wasn't making $100K. Was he not a real man?
Where's your wife?
Yeah. Yeah, none of them are married.
Yeah.
But they promote, girls. Anyway.
This is how you get a good woman, and they're all dating like crazy girls that are doing the same thing.
Yeah, they're dating the ones that are broken, just like them.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a big,
But yeah, I
But
mean,
that's some.
a big market for insecurity.
it's a big, it throws up, the algorithms will throw it. The algorithm has been throwing terrible things. I don't know if I'll share it here because it's very off subject, but it's thrown that, and like I have no interest in these things. Like I'm comfortable in my own skin. I don't need to learn how to be an alpha. If you or you're a beta, cool, okay, cool. You don't even know how to spell beta, okay? I know how to spell it.
How do you spell beta?
BETA.
Ah.
It's Greek. Okay.
Beta.
Yeah. Comes from the Greek alphabet. Okay.
I know, and y'all kind of a little bit mentioned it, but from your perspective, how do you all see body images evolving?
Evolving. To
Like-
his point, it's like fake, especially now that you see so much online. And I mean, because like, if a friend posts something, if someone doesn't, I always just keep in mind, There's a filter there. They don't look like that all the time. That's probably just a small moment that's captured it. And thankfully, I think I've surrounded myself with friends that don't really do that. I mean, some of my female friends will put filters on their faces on Snapchat for like holidays and things like that. Whatever, not a big deal. I don't think they're catfishing anyone, at least from what I can tell. But like if you're severely catfishing, I don't even think people do it on purpose, right? I think to his point, they're so insecure with how they look that I don't know if they vicariously live through their avatar digitally. Oh, that's how I'm presenting myself to the world. And then when someone meets them, like, that's you. Yeah. People I've worked with, people I currently work with, their profile pic doesn't look anything like them when I see them on camera.
Yeah, at work.
There are some that do, like, and I can tell on this picture either there's a filter or a little bit of a makeup, but like if I put side by side, I can easily tell that's you. There are others where side by side, I don't think anyone would be able to tell. That's a problem. And not like I joke about it. It's funny in a weird way.
Yeah.
But I mean, if it's a sign of a bigger symptom being people can't even feel like they can show their face in its true form, then there's a big problem with that. And that's not just about weight loss either, right? Because sometimes you can't even lose weight in your face. I've seen people that are pretty skinny that have like pudgy faces. But overall, it's like this whole weird standard of 100% all the time. And I know we always joke about it, but I say if you apply yourself to a hobby and get pretty good at that hobby, you'd probably have a lot of insecurities melt away because you actually put yourself into something outside of yourself that speaks for itself. I think that's why motherhood is pretty important, right? Because a mother is very proud of raising her children, or should be at least. So if you have, children that people, they have friends, they're admired, they're loved. I hear good things. You know how cool it is when you hear someone tell you, oh, your daughter's well behaved, or oh, she's funny. Like those small things, that was like you're a part of it, right? So I would imagine. I think that's why when parents get to an age, especially dads, right? When people like, he has dad energy. They just don't care how they look or how they dress. They'll wear the dad shoes or the shirts. Like they wear it all the time. They'll tuck in their shirts and their pants and their bellies like a little bit hanging out. Those guys don't care because they've already done enough where they're comfortable in their own, like they've seen enough of life. Like, I don't care about anything else. I only care about maybe my security and safety and those that I love around me. But we need to reach that much, much earlier. I don't think a 20-year-old should go through thinking that they'll never be enough, because I think that's another thing that the alpha's mindset does. You have to act now. You have to act now. Like they don't think that it can never take. Like if you don't become rich in your 20s, then you're a failure. Kind of absurd.
Yeah, I mean, and even like right now, that's like to your point. It's like, oh, the alpha is like the masculine, the manosphere, or whatever. But if you think about it, even now, right? What's celebrated, like inclusion. Oh, love your body. Oh, your type. Now we have curvy models or whatever, right? Like there's so many different things and agendas. That's like we have now 40, 50 different things of like this is what's considered beautiful. Love yourself, but yeah, everybody's standard is the same thing. Like, so how is it to before? There's like beauty. There was like so many. It was more maybe just like being yourself and being like cool. Opposed to like now when it's like we celebrate inclusion and like yes queen or whatever the case may be, right? But it's like then why if now we've made a bigger point as a society to celebrate our differences and how we look and our individualities, why is it now more of a problem right? When we're so like, oh yes, we need more brown people in this picture, or then why is it a problem? Why is it a higher problem now? And why does everybody want to look the same if we're celebrating diversity more than ever? So like, why is that even a thing? I don't get that part, right? It's like, why does everybody want to be the same person? Why does everybody want to look the same? Why does everybody concerned about likes? Why is everybody concerned about how many followers they have? If we're celebrating in the individuality, like what is it? Because before, we all had friends that were weird. You had friends whatever. As long as you had something in common, you could be friends with anybody. If you had one toy in common, one sport that you played, like I went to school in Glendale where it was like literally There was like Afghanistan kids that were like refugees, people from the Congo that were refugees, a lot of Mexicans, Polynesians. We didn't even speak English or the same language, and we were all hanging out together. Like we would go to each other's houses, like me and my Bosnian friends. Like we were both barely learning how to speak English, and we would be playing Pokemon, we would be playing sports, video games, and we did not see any of our different looks as a thing. Right? Because before it was just more about values and morals, or however your family raised you. If you had something in common, yeah, you can be my kid's friend. Now you are celebrating all the diversity, but now you're like, I don't want my kid around him because his mom, blah 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 blah, all these things. No. So I don't know. I feel like all of that's kind of reversed. For as much as like people say that now we're like so progressive and there's so many more rights for us. It's before there was just never like these type of issues where there is now. Not that there wasn't like bullying, and even that, right? It's like before maybe you got bullied in school, and now you get bullied everywhere, online, right? Your friends they could be sending Snapchats. Like your kid could be at home, and before, like if you got picked on, like you go home, nobody can. You can have a completely different life at school. And you get home, nobody knows what you're doing. Now you get home, and maybe somebody's posting pictures of you on Snapchat, making fun of you, tagging all your friends, doing the same thing on Facebook or social media, right? So there's all these things where there's like, in my opinion, it's like more harmful than before. And we treat like 20 years ago, like everybody was just like demons and like misogynistic or whatever. They were just, everybody was just like a piece of shit. Compared to now when there's like more to the point of like Facebook, like everybody's like fucking with your mental well-being and breaking you down so much like online, where they don't even need to do it like physical anymore. Like they can do it everywhere, but they can have some sort of like now agenda of like, oh yeah, everybody's welcome. And it's like, no, everything's like nobody's welcome. Like there's more people now that don't feel welcome than there was like in the 90s. There's more people that feel like they're outcasts, like they're left alone, like they're weird compared to back then, because now there's like the high standard of like, oh, this is what's gonna make you cool, and if you're not this, you're a loser. So I just find all that stuff like pretty odd to be glorified now. It's like we're so great and stuff like that compared to before, when before it was just like much more simpler to live, especially after you grow up. Like you're a kid, you get done with school, like now you're an adult. There were always, you probably had this too, like in school when you had some counselor or some other guy give a speech, and they would always say, be nice to the nerds, they're gonna be your boss one day if you pick on them or something like that. And they would tell them, it's like, maybe if you're getting bullied or now, it's like, just remember that in a couple of years, like you're not even going to see most of these people ever again. And they would give you like a little pep talk like that, like none of these kids are going to be picking on you. You're going to be all on your own. You guys are going to be doing what you like and chasing your dreams, blah, 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 and that's it. And now everywhere I look, I'm ugly.
You see your bully every day on Facebook,
Okay. Are y'all ready to share your images?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay, so I want y'all to hold it up to the camera, right? And then maybe describe
one at a time,
it.
also maybe that way there's not an
Okay.
overload of.
I don't know if.
Yeah, looks good. Look at that.
Okay.
We should have host gold last.
Why?
Yeah.
Yeah, because my image does not look good.
Hey, why? Look, see, they're getting to you,
See?
right?
They are.
It's working the tactic.
This is a filter, okay? So I don't know if it wasn't long enough. This is, I'm thinner in this than I am now, right? I guess I don't know what that would be, 20, maybe 30 LBSs. Just maybe walk a little bit more, clean up my eating. Like eating is really my biggest thing. I'm relatively active. I do briskly walk. Gee, now that my dog's doing better after surgery, I'm back to close to 90 minutes a day. But just eating healthier, lose a couple. I've never, even in my healthiest, I never had like a flat stomach. And even back then I was okay with it. I had like shoulders that were pretty broad, and you can see my triceps.
Mm-hmm.
Good, like, strong forearms. A good, healthy legs. I've always had very strong legs, so I think that in and of itself would be it. Hopefully, I keep my hair. If not, okay, I can accept shaving it off, and then my beard, and that'd be it. And I have jaundice here, so maybe I should take care of my liver. I'm a minion. But yeah, yeah.
I'll show mine. Maybe you can show mine because you're closer to the camera, host.
This is what not having a filter looks like. I'm kidding.
That's me. Jose. And maybe I might cut my hair a little bit.
You say I'm Asian, huh?
I know. My eyes were sleepy a little bit, but yeah, I mean, for me, I don't know. I think I've always felt pretty comfortable. Maybe there I have a little bit shorter hair. I always like maybe wearing a little bit cool, brighter colors sometimes. But I don't know. I don't think I've ever felt. I think I've always felt the same. You know. So I would just say maybe like that. Maybe a cool. Those are kind of my favorite colors, tan and kind of like those other colors like that.
Okay.
I forgot I had glasses, so maybe no glasses. But now I'm getting kind of used to glasses. I drew them on last. I'm like, damn, I forgot I had glasses. So maybe, but now it's like maybe a couple of years ago I would do myself with no glasses, but now I'm kind of used to wearing glasses. Before I was like, oh man, I look like an idiot, now.
Did you use contacts?
It takes too long for me to, just I don't know. So maybe I will tomorrow. Maybe I'll show up to work.
Show up to work with a car accident because you didn't wear your glasses.
Well, now I'm used to glasses, the convenience of it compared to contacts. I can take a nap with my glasses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If y'all had to do a surgery, right? You had no other option. You have to do this surgery. What would you do?
Are you gonna show us yours first? What do you mean? You're supposed to participate, right?
So mine is not as cool as y'all's, but
You have calf implants or something?
yeah. So I think to me what's like more mobility and agility, like moving fast. I think that to me was when I was at my best. Mainly because of like the physical things I could do. Like now I go walk stairs to work, and I can't catch my breath. Right. No. So I think I was the most happiest when I was able to like run and go up the stairs without running out of breath. And when I had like my pride were my legs. I'm not gonna lie, because I did a lot of soccer and taekwondo and running. I love running. So I think that was when I thought I was at my best fit.
Yeah.
And mainly because I was okay health-wise. I was happy able to do like other activities without that being. Like now, like my hip hurts. Like I can't play too much soccer or stand for too long even at work because my hip just like gives out. Mm-hmm.
You haven't gone to the chiropractor to see maybe?
No, I'm afraid. And you know what I'm afraid of? That they're going to crack my neck. Everything else is fine.
I don't blame you for that. It's just the
neck.
I'd say physical
just
therapy.
Say hips
physical
only.
therapy was nice.
That happened to me. They cracked my hip. My hip was higher.
Oh, uh-huh.
So I was like, I used to play a lot of soccer, and then eventually, like, I would always have like butt pain,
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, they told me that my hip it kind of was like tightened. It got tightened on one side, and then it was like uneven.
Uh-huh.
So like one side was a little bit higher, and that's why my butt was like hurting all the time. And they popped it like back normal, just my hip, and then they did some therapy where they like shocked it and stuff like that, like the muscles.
Oh yeah.
And then
you have to keep doing it, or you're good now.
No, I'm fine now.
Really, that's great. Okay,
Oh,
I always thought you had to keep going. That's why I never went.
No, I just did one treatment. They popped it back in place.
So I think I have that on my right side. Might be a little bit higher than lower than my left.
Yeah. They say that a lot of your health and stuff like that is in your hips.
Oh.
And your hip mobility and stuff like that. That's like a lot of like a big part of your health is your hips.
I have okay mobility.
Yeah. Okay.
You should get it checked out, sister.
We should do chiropractor.
I know. I should probably get it checked out.
Clínica Médica Familiar. Look it up. Dr.
Oh.
Bosch retired, but $60.
of
They'll
you,
sit
yeah.
there and hit you with a little hammer. You know what I mean?
My dad will do it for 20. You know?
Oh, he hasn't been doing a good job.
Oh yeah, he has. I haven't paid him.
I don't know if you saw. This is me running, and then these are my
The
stairs.
stairs.
So I didn't add like
Stairmaster.
cool physical features in my faces like y'all did, but I
Yours
added
is about
like
the motion.
yeah.
Yeah.
Just wanted to
verb.
point that
I
out.
know. Mine's like an Amish guy. You know, they're just like not even smiling. I tried to make a smile, but I didn't do too good.
Okay.
What was your question before? Well, you were trying to distract us from.
Oh
not
yeah,
showing
yeah.
yours.
Sorry. So you only have one option, like
Oh, surgery.
right,
huh?
surgery. Okay, you have to do a surgery. What would you do?
Does
And why?
liposuction count? Because I'm just gonna. I don't want to physically change. I'm okay with I guess if I had to pick like physically changing outside of liposuction, maybe just like my ears are a little bit big sometimes. I don't even care, but maybe just make them smaller if that's it. 'Cause you know people will take that bottom part off or whatever. Whatever
Oh,
the
Were
yeah,
they?
now that I'm
I
looking
didn't
at
know
it.
that.
lobe. Yeah.
Messing around.
I know they
You take your
period
lobe
for
out?
Nose.
No, just like 'cause they can like reduce it, like cut it.
Oh.
But again,
didn't
if I
know
had to
that.
pick one, I wouldn't change my nose. I'm not changing my lips. I actually get complimented on my lips and cheeks a lot. These
Which ones?
These cheeks, okay. Actually, I have had compliments on the butt cheeks and my thighs, from both men and women, which is nice. But yeah, so liposuction, or I guess maybe making my ears a little bit smaller.
Yeah.
I'm okay with the rest of my body.
I would make my nose a little bit bigger. I have one nostril that's bigger than the other one. Did you see it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, when we first met you, that's the first thing you told me. I was like, okay.
That's pretty funny.
But it grows naturally, but I guess maybe that. Or maybe, you know, I would have like Claude said, like once my, I'm not scared to like shave bald. Sometimes I want to, honestly. Get my hair so long. I just been having it in the bun for so long recently. But I wish sometimes like, man, I miss when I had like a hairline that was like right here, like touching your eyebrows almost. Like I look at some of the pictures, even this part was like all the way over here, you know, like connecting to my
Yeah,
eyebrows.
my sides have receded. I think my top has always been high,
Yeah.
but it's starting to get a little bit thinner.
Yeah, mine always had like a bunch of hair. Like I have a little brother, and like his hairline's still like down here. I'm like, holy crap. So I'd probably say like if anything that, but it's also for me. It's like I used to always have like really short hair where it was almost like a bald cut. So I never like that would actually just be me having my normal haircut. Like
I always bust
had.
my hair too. Yeah.
Yeah, like even when I had like my hairline, it was always like really short. So
Maybe I'd straighten my teeth. I don't have straight teeth, and I don't care to get them straightened. So maybe I would just, for the shits and giggles, do it.
what's get you some Invisalign horse?
Aren't they like $6,000?
I don't know. I think they're pretty cheap now.
I can't even close my teeth
Mm.
because my wisdom teeth grew in when I was 17. All 4 of them.
Oh.
They haven't really done. They seem to be okay.
Well, he's
when
just
they
used
grow
to
in.
it now. When they take him
Yeah.
out, he'll be like, ah.
Well, yeah, I don't know any better.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Maybe I'll be a better man.
True
maybe
acceptance.
I'll be a worse man. Yeah.
Yeah, true acceptance by horse.
I don't know any better,
Mm.
and I'm okay with it. But what about you?
I think there's to make you be taller. I think that's the one I would do.
Oh, really?
That's,
break
like,
your shins?
dangerous.
That's gonna suck.
I know.
No, you don't. They don't break your shins. Isn't it your femur that they break?
Yeah, and then they extend it, right?
I
This
don't even-
part, you know what
I
I'm
think
talking
at
about?
most they can only
This
do.
bone, they break it and they put a rod, so then the bone grows back into the rod.
Okay, I did not think that one
So they
through.
literally saw
not
think
off
that
your
one through.
leg, that big bone right
Yeah,
here.
they break it and then slowly start
Space it.
stretching it.
Yeah,
And I think
gross. It fuses back.
it's at bare minimum 1 year of recovery, meaning like in year of pain from what I've seen. Because I'll watch those like little testimonials.
Oh yeah.
I have no interest in being tall. I'm an average height guy. I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
Must be nice.
But
Well, just think about it. In another country, you're a really tall person.
yeah,
Where?
Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador. You know.
just go to a malnourished country, Philippines.
Wow.
You'll be average height or tall.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
But yeah,
feel like
it-
in Japan I did feel a lot more comfortable.
I think
Yeah.
at most they
People
would
on
only
there.
add 3 inches. I think is the most that they can as far as the height. I believe that's what they said in what I saw, but this was like 2 years ago. So if it's gotten better technology, maybe they can do 5 taller. But so how tall are you?
How tall do y'all think I am?
5'3".
No, I'm
You're
not 5.
4?
Yeah, I'm 4.
4'11"?
4'11".
Really?
Oh,
Dang.
wow.
Okay. So
But I do wear like.
Sure. But so I think, I mean, again, based on what I read, you'd be 5'2", I think, at the most. Would that even be worth the pain? Just
No,
yeah,
no,
see?
it would not.
If there was maybe 5-7 inches of difference, maybe it would be worth it. But for 3, I think you'll be fine.
I don't know if I would like to do. I know there's like your phrase, your belly fat, I think. But I love eating. Like, my diet wouldn't change. So I feel like that would be pointless for me.
You could do those little neck ring stackers where you just keep adding it and it stretches out your neck. You'd be taller that way.
Yeah, that long neck. You know?
But then I have to keep them the entire time.
Once you do enough of them, like, your neck just stays that long. Because your body would adjust. Relatively painful too, I believe.
Okay, never mind. No. I'll stick to also the cheap. Okay. Well, also thank y'all for engaging in the conversation. Anything y'all want to say before we end today about body image? Any mentions? Any message you want to send out to?
I would just say get off social media. That's weird. I think it's pretty weird, honestly.
Literally, like, give yourself into a hobby, some sort of creative outlet. And you'll find something eventually. It's even experimenting with different ones is pretty fun. Once you find one you really like, give yourself the benefit of the doubt and lean into it. Whether it's every weekend, an hour every 3 nights or something, you'll feel better about yourself. Yeah. I firmly believe that.
Because even for me, like, dude, I can't remember. I told host, I can't remember. I think I had to call someone. Oh yeah, we were to a folk game, one of our friends, and he's like, can you give her a phone call? I'm like, dude, didn't even save her number. Like, it's somewhere in my text, but I just keep it as the actual number because I don't really even try to look at my phone number to be texting and stuff at all times. Like, I have the secret Snapchat, you know, if somebody needs to get a hold of me, like, they'll just send me a Snapchat, and that way I can just, if I don't read it, it stays blue, so I know I can look at it, and it's probably important because not a lot of people have it, you know. But I would say, like, a lot of those stuff that's, like, that you're always, like, I think we talked about it last time, where you're always, like, so needy for something to happen that you can't be bored or you don't have anything to just, like, relax, so you're always, like, amped up, you know, like, everybody's, like, overstimulated all the time. So say get off social media and then just work on your mental health and being comfortable. Learn how to be confident. That's what I would be my thing. Whatever you have, there's something different about you, and it doesn't even have to be a look, you know, like, it could be a skill, you know, like, if you're really good at a certain skill, like, you know how there's, like, even certain artists, you know, and, like, they could have the worst body or whatever, but it's like, oh, they're so confident in being artists and they dress so weird and they're so themselves that it's like, oh, that's cool. Like, you see, like, Jack Black or even certain, you know, celebrities that you can't even picture them, like, being skinnier or a different body because they're, like, there's so much themselves in that type of body that they're like, oh, that's just how they are, you know? So it's like, whatever you, like, enjoy doing, just, you know, find confidence in that and be proud of that. You know, if you don't have anything else that you feel like that you may not be proud of, like, be the best at, you know, whatever, being a mom, being a wife, and be confident in that, being an artist or whatever you may do at your job, being the best sandwich maker or whatever. And I don't know, I think whenever you have some sort of confidence at anything, like, don't you know, like, so when you go to, like, the doctor or something, you get, like, a CNA that's confident and puts you at ease. Then you get a CNA that's like, oh, I can't find your vein, right? And now you're scared, right? But if you get somebody with confidence, there's always, like, something cool about that person. Makes you feel safe, so makes you feel like they belong, and it doesn't even have to do anything with looks. You know, it's just that confidence, like, oh, this person is confident. That's it.
Get the surgery. Just kidding. Just kidding. Do whatever you feels best for you.
You uglies, get the surgery.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you all for joining us. Thank you, Jose and Jose.
Pasta.
Thank you.
Hasta luego.